Hi everybody, my name is Isa and this is Moody Eye Makeup channel. Today I'm going to do a review on new foundation from Catrice. Nude Drop Tinted Serum Foundation with hyaluronic acid and vitamin E. I've picked up this one in the shade 10. Okay guys, so let's try it out now. I'm going to use my favorite primer because I think that in that way I'm really gonna have a true feeling for foundation, how it's performing and everything. Of course I could use this foundation without any primer at all, but because my skin is so dry I absolutely need one. But I'm not going to use any setting powder or setting spray, so that we can see how long it's going to last on me and if it's going to separate or do something weird basically. So I'm using NYX Plump Right Back Plumping Serum. So I've done my brows and I've used a small amount of color corrector around my eyes, but I haven't used any concealer yet. So now let's try this foundation. Because this is a very serumy, light, liquidy foundation, I'm going to use a brush for that and a very dense round kabuki brush, because in that way this brush won't soak up that product too much. You can use your fingers as well, or I'm just for the sake of this video I'm gonna use a beauty blender so you can see the difference, but first I'm using my brush. So this is a very, as I said, this is very light, very serumy, and right away I can see that my skin feels more alive, more dewy, more fresh. So it blended in right away. I don't need to work too much with it. You can be very quickly done with it, and that's just beautiful. Can you see that glow? But I can see that it oxidized a little bit, so keep in mind when you're choosing your color to go slightly lighter, because then it's going to be just a perfect shade for you. For me, like right now, it's a tiny bit darker when it oxidizes, but I can work it out. But I know that immediately my skin hits a sun, or my sun hits the skin. Yeah, that's probably better way to put it. I'm going to be just the right shade. Now let's try just like a small patch of using it with a finger. So as I said, finger is also a way to go with this type of foundations. Usually you need a little bit more time than with a brush, just to really blend it in. Now I'm gonna use my beauty blender. So beauty blender always soaks in some product, so I prefer using beauty blender with heavier foundations, but you know, you probably already know it has to be damped to use it anyway. Don't ever use a dry beauty blender. Okay, so I don't know how much you can actually see, but it's not that bad with a beauty blender either. I would just say you need a little bit more product to achieve the same amount of opacity. So this is light to medium, I would say, with the first layer, but you can totally build it up to medium coverage, which is perfect for every day. And I have to see that, I have to say that I'm quite impressed with how it blends and how it looks on my skin, because it's not clinging to any patchiness, any dry spot, and it looks flawless. It looks like I don't have any foundation on, and you know, this is a drugstore product, a very cheap foundation, but it oxidizes. So now it looks a little bit more orangey like orangey, more yellowy than it did like right away from the bottle, and you can also see the difference. But that's just one thing that you really have to consider when you're buying your shade. Okay, now I'm gonna just use my concealer and I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and see you in a minute. Okay, so I've done my makeup, and yeah, as I already said, I absolutely love this formula. I was waiting Catrice to do something like that, and I'm going to show you how it looks under a natural light, because this is studio light. It always looks a little bit different, and I'm gonna use my iPhone to do so, so the quality of that is going to be a bit different as well. And I'm going to get back to you after a full day, so you can see how it wore, if it dried down, if it cracked up, or if it clinged to any patchiness. For so far so good, so I'm going to get back to you. So you can see how it looks under a natural light, and I think it looks flawless. But yeah, it's a shame that it oxidized, because it's harder to choose the right shade. A really, really natural and lightweight foundation. So far I really like it. So it's 10 hours later, and now we can see the result. I went to the gym, I teached contemporary dance, and I wiped my nose frequently. So I had a lunch. No surprise, I don't have any foundation around my nose, but that's like normal, because I was wiping my nose like nobody's else business. I mean, it was I really had a runny nose, and also I haven't set my foundation, so that's not foundation's fault. Some foundation that are serumy can actually be very hydrating in the beginning, but then after a few hours they completely disappear, and you're left with this like a dry powder on top of your skin, and I hate that look, and that didn't happen with this one. My skin still feels hydrating, so cheers to Catrice. This is a good, fantastic foundation for the price, and also for those who have very dry skin, you will love this one. I think also like normal skin, with oily skin, I'm not sure. Usually foundations that are great for oily skin are not great for dry skin, and vice versa. So you have to, you know, keep in mind that if you have very oily skin, it will perform completely differently on top of your skin. You will have to probably set it with some setting powder, setting spray. I don't need to do that. I haven't set it, and I feel that my forehead, I'm not looking greasy basically, but my skin looks and feels hydrated, dewy. I would say that I can see a little bit of foundation sitting on top right here. Yeah, I feel I have very like dry and bumpy skin right here, but this is when I'm like looking really closely. I would give this foundation rating of 9 of 10, and that says a lot. They claim this is serum foundation. It covers like a foundation. Agreed. Feels like a serum. Yeah, totally. Lightweight, breathable formula with buildable light to medium coverage. I would agree with everything they claim. Flexible on the skin for a long-lasting skin-like result. Yeah, totally. Smooths and blurs imperfections. I'm not sure. I mean, if it smooths any imperfections, but for sure it doesn't cling to some areas, maybe. just a little bit here, but that's like if I'm being really picky. Okay, so that's that. The next video is going to be a review and a test wear on this new foundation, also from Catrice. It's HD Matte Powder Foundation with SPF 15. Please subscribe and click the bell button next to it so you can be notified when I upload. Have a lovely day and see you in my next video. Bye.